And now, the LSU Football Fix with Preston Guy, presented by TigerBait, starts now.
And welcome on in to your LSU Football Fix. I'm Preston Guy, your host tonight. Joining with me, as always, every Monday night at 8 o'clock is Zach Nagy, staff writer of Sports Illustrated's LSU Country. Zach, how'd you enjoy your bye week?
It was good. It was kind of a slower week, which is fantastic, of course, much needed after, really long last couple of weeks. Our business has been booming with, everything, women's basketball starting up, men's basketball, and then, of course, football is in full swing, but much needed bye week, much needed. And now we kind of move on. Bama time.
See, Zach doesn't get the same luxury I do of just being able to focus on one sport. He is all over the place, all across campus, all the time. But that's kind of why we wanted to bring him in here because, as we go through this season, other sports will start doing their thing. He'll be able to provide much better perspective. But not this week, guys, because it's LSU Bama week. And I'm going to lay it out for y'all tonight. I'm going to start the show with a heavy dose of recruiting, particularly Bryce Underwood. Zach had a really good a good write-up this week on Bryce. I actually got to talk to Bryce Underwood's father this week, and I talked to his coach the week before. So I've got some pretty good perspective. I wrote a piece on TigerBait.com. If you want to see all the details, it's there. Quite frankly, it's one of the more entertaining just meat and potatoes stories I get to write in recruiting. Anybody who interviews high school kids enough knows that there are some crummy stories you have to write from time to time, man. This was not one of them. It was very interesting. It was some great perspective and some zingers quotes. I'm going to go through a few points. I think I got 3 or 4 points that really popped off the page to me in that. We're going to go a little bit into Brian Kelly's presser. And of course, we're going to kind of reiterate what we reiterated last week and see if anything's changed. Of course, some personnel has definitely changed for LSU since last week. So we're going to dive into what the impact of all these players out. There were some players we had question marks next to, and a lot of them will not be back next week. In fact, I'd say most of the ones that were up in the air, you got the thumbs down on from Brian Kelly today. So we talk a lot about how these press conferences are oftentimes coach speak from Brian Kelly. This one was kind of loaded today. Zach, were you there at the press conference?
I was, and that's really well said. It was loaded. It was long for the most part. They're usually
like 27 minutes.
Yeah, but man, he threw in a lot of different things in there. But like you said, we'll get there. We'll talk about that. It was a fantastic press conference from Kelly. Really informative, obviously coming off a bye week. Not too much happened last week. So he was just full force ahead, all Bama talk. So we'll get there because, like you said, a couple bombshells during that press conference earlier this afternoon.
While we're teasing the subject, he had a joke in there about having a 10-year contract. What was your thought on that 10-year contract? I actually got a few people texting me, DMing me, being like, man, how could he say that? I was like, I think he was just trying a dry joke. What was your thoughts?
No, I think, again, one more thing kind of well said by you. His humor is dry. His humor isn't the same, Southern type thing that we do down here. But look, man, he's trying to adapt to the culture. He's trying to crack jokes every now and then. He does it kind of towards the end of his press conferences. And he's done it usually during his Thursday pressers, but he threw one in there on Monday with a bunch of people watching, of course. But look, man, the joke's a joke. It is what it is. He's on a 10-year contract, like you said. He said everything in his career is judged by wins and losses, but sometimes, with a 10-year contract, whatever. But look, it was another just dry joke by him, like you said. And
right. And that's the thing about his dry jokes is, he's someone who's not really funny, trying to crack a joke to lighten the mood, or be, approachable. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it just doesn't always come off that way. And a lot of people go straight over their head. Like, he just said 10-year contract. It's like, no, man, he's bad at cracking jokes.
He's just trying to be funny, man. He's trying to be relatable.
You think he made it to 300 career wins by saying comments like, well, I got a contract, I'm good to go.
Literally.
Joshua Forbes, one of the regulars to the show. Hey BFFs, what's up? What will you do if Bama rolls us instead? I will probably do a post-game show that gets a crap ton of views and talk to you about why I was wrong, and you will be there making fun of me, and I will put your comment making fun of me on the screen. Is that a good answer?
Well said.
Yeah. I mean, and look, of course, you just get a what's up. So,
Good
yeah.
job.
All right. So let's dive into the show tonight. Bryce Underwood is a pretty big recruit. There have been some monster recruits that LSU has reeled in ways. This is potentially bigger than all of them. Russell Shepard was a monster quarterback recruit out of Houston. Do you remember Russell Shepard? You remember that whole?
I do.
You remember that?
I do.
All right. Do you remember when he was a recruit and how highly touted he was? Now, there were some questions about him when he was, going into his senior season as to whether he'd be an athlete or a quarterback. And ultimately, he threw 20 touchdowns, 5 interceptions as a senior. And they're like, that's good enough to be a quarterback. So they landed 5-star quarterback Russell Shepard. Of course, it panned out in some ways and not in some others. He was a good wide receiver, but he never threw a pass as an LSU Tiger. Went on to have a nice, long, healthy 10-year career in the NFL, which is nothing to overlook. You have guys, Ryan Perrilloux was a massive recruit, although he was, not the number one overall player in the country. He was like a top 25 player or whatnot. Leonard Fournette was the number one overall player in the country, and they landed him. Of course, he's from New Orleans, plays running back. It's just different in a lot of ways. Patrick Peterson, mega recruit out of Florida, right? One thing you're noticing about all these guys I'm naming, they're all in LSU's geographic pipeline.
Yep.
You get a kid from Florida every year, at least a kid. You get kids out of Texas all the time. You get kids out of LSU all the time. Bryce Underwood, from what I'm told, and I've watched his film and I'm obviously very impressed. There are people who have evaluated his film and broken them down, and they say he's as good as any quarterback prospect to come out in the last generation or whatever, right? Very impressed with him. I mean, obviously, I looked at this film and I'm like, that's a very good player. You get him. There's an argument that this would be the biggest recruit because he's the number one player in the country at the most important position. Russell Shepard was probably your last most highly recruited player, and he's far more polished than Russell Shepard was coming out of high school. Far more polished. So, and then you add in the fact that when was the last time LSU pulled a 5-star kid from Michigan?
That's a really good thing too. Like, I've been thinking about that as well. Because 5 stars, obviously, cream of the crop. But I look at somebody, Jackson Howard. They went up to Minnesota.
Yeah.
He was the number one player in Minnesota, and they went and got him last year. But look, I don't even want to try to compare the two because what you're saying, the hype is real. The Bryce Underwood stuff is real. To go up to Michigan and get the number one player would be a tremendous get for this program.
20 mints away from Ann Arbor, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Like to what
Such
you're saying,
a big deal.
The hype is real. To what you're saying, it's fantastic.
And I think it's that, and you know who my mind went to? LSU signed a left tackle. Was it Joseph Barksdale? He would have been your left tackle in 2009. If anybody could think of, I think it's Joseph Barksdale. Anyways, if anybody can think of exactly who the offensive tackle, left tackle LSU got out of Detroit, let me know if I nailed that right. I'm thinking back a long time ago, but anyways, this would be such a tremendous deal, and I guess I've been hesitant going into this process to say LSU will land him or going to land him or whatever that might be, right? Because it's just such a rare thing. But I think what this is evidence that LSU will have a hat on the table. I think that's showing. Is there a sign that Brian Kelly is recruiting the Midwest better than, I guess that's the Midwest or the Rust Belt, as you would call it, but that geographical footprint that LSU typically doesn't touch. Brian Kelly's doing a pretty good job recruiting that right now, huh?
He is. And my thing with him is just kind of going nationally. I understand like that little Midwest region right there is up, of course, one to keep an eye on. Getting somebody like Jackson Howard down to campus is a huge get for this program because I'm a big fan of his. I like what he did during fall camp, obviously. this year he's a true freshman, and it's hard to get production from true freshmen. People kind of sleep on the fact that these guys can't just come in and produce immediately. It takes time for some people. But yeah, Brian Kelly's starting to recruit a little bit, nationally and do what he can, and going up north and recruiting somebody like Bryce Underwood is fantastic. Joe Sloan is as elite of a recruiter as it gets. He's a great player development guy. So he's kind of the main recruiter here for somebody like Bryce Underwood. So yeah, look, man, they're going up there and they're going all over to get the best of the best. It's get the best of the boot is kind of what they're saying, and it's kind of showing right here with Bryce Underwood.
By the way, in my story for Bryce Underwood talking to his father, literally first couple paragraphs, he speaks ad nauseum about how much he likes Joe Sloan and how impressed he is with Joe Sloan. Let's see. I mean, let's read this. Spending time, and this is just a partial snippet. If you want the whole thing, you're going to have to go to TigerBait.com, try it for $1, and go read the whole story. I'm not reading all 1,100 words of this story to you on this show tonight, but let's see. He's recruited him correctly in the fashion of contacting the parents. I'm a parent and a coach, spending time with me, my wife, my daughter, getting to know us and see if this is even a good stuff. All that stuff played a huge factor. That's a big deal. He's a big deal. Speaks volumes about him. And I've got a lot more that I want to spout out on this Bryce Underwood exclusive story. Let's get to a couple of comments though real quick. I saw a couple that had me interested. Let's see here. Fournette was rated higher than Shepard. Yeah, I mean, Leonard Fournette was the number 1 player in the country. Yeah, he was as big of a recruit as they come.
He's the craziest recruit I've ever seen with my own 2 eyes, because I'm a Catholic League kid. I went to Holy Cross, and
you were probably in New Orleans.
That was my time. Like watching somebody like Leonard Fournette play football was unbelievable. Just destroyed all of my friends, just crushed them like a bug. So just to watch somebody like that play in person, number one recruit in the country for goddamn good reason, because that isn't. That was a freak. He got picked up today by the Bills, so shout out.
Yeah, I saw that. I picked him up on my fantasy team too, so I'm pretty excited about that, because I mean, I had Nick Chubb out for the year. I've got Connors out for the year for Arizona. I was in a bad spot, so
you were in dire need of running back. Yeah,
I hope playoff Lenny can be my fantasy playoff Lenny. But anyways. Interesting story on Leonard Fournette. So one of my friends played for Jesuit and tackled Leonard Fournette. They're in that same New Orleans league down there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I asked him years later, like, what was it like actually tackling Leonard Fournette? And he's like, the best way I can describe it is, and I had to catch him when he was going full speed. Imagine if you had a bunch of pads on and had to tackle a horse.
I was going to say like a Mack truck, like getting hit by a truck or something.
And he's like, think about it, because you could probably trip up a horse.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not overpowered. You're just holding on for dear life and hoping it trips and falls on you.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what it was like. Yeah. So you get no debate out of me out of what a good prospect Leonard Fournette was. I mean, massive deal. I just think the position of pertinence is what you might argue Underwood. There's no arguing any recruit is a better is concretely a better recruit. You might pick one over another for a different reason. Check this out. Barksdale was a defensive lineman from Cass Tech in Detroit.
There we go.
Preston with the 15-year pull. Ooh,
there we go.
It. That's probably the last kid LSU side from Michigan. Let's see here. I still like Colin Hurley. That's from Josh Forbes. And look, we talked about this in a little group chat that we had about Colin Hurley and whether Colin will be scared off or whatever by Bryce Underwood. Guys, there's no recruit worth his salt is going to be scared off from a job because a kid in the class behind him is signing. That's not the way this works. I mean,
not even how it is. If you're an SEC talent, you want it all. You want all the competition. You want all the smoke, is what everybody says. So you're not going to back away from a challenge.
No.
And that goes to somebody like Colin Hurley as well, man. He's young, but he's a competitor. So, no, won't get scared off.
Here's one of the things. It's one of the prerequisites to play quarterback in the SEC. Now, if it's in your own class, I do understand that. Most quarterbacks I talk to want to be the quarterback of their class, right? But if it's in the class behind you and you're getting scared off by a kid a year younger than you, you need not apply. Stay home. You don't have the guts. And trust me, I talked to Colin. I've probably talked to Colin more than any recruit I've ever talked to.
He's so open with the media, man.
And he's such a high quality kid.
It's fantastic.
And he's been very helpful. I've probably talked with Colin more than any other recruit I've ever talked to. I promise you, Colin ain't scared. I haven't even asked him directly, like, hey, have you thought about Bryce Underwood yet? Because I know exactly what he would say. He would have he cares very much about his brand and being a leader. And I know he would give me something very well thought out. And it'd be kind of boring because that's how a leader should answer that. It'd kind of boring. And he's not going to say, yeah, dude, that Bryce Underwood guy, I think I'm going to go somewhere else. But anyway, some good comments. The next thing I found truly interesting about the Bryce Underwood's father, his name's Jaquan, right? He named LSU the leader, and flat out. I had to ask him at the end, and he kind of danced around his words, but he would say, I would have to say a yes is the answer to that. When I asked, is LSU the team to beat for his recruiting? Before that, I had asked him, he said his top schools were coming out, which he hasn't announced his top schools, right? Did I miss that?
No, but I'm sure it'll be LSU, Michigan, Colorado, Penn State, and I think Bama.
Yeah. Well, and I asked him about that. And he said it's coming soon. So I figured it'll be this week, next week, sometime. He's announcing on January 6th. And I asked him, and I'm going to read this sweet sequence. This is one of the reasons I wanted to do part of this on this show, because it reads a little choppy. I'm sure, sometimes as a writer, I want to just break the rules of how we write stuff and just put it Q&A, like back and forth with the interviewer, right? But that's not really how sports writing works. Let me see here. I asked him if, when he comes out with his top schools, if he would tell me who they were. He politely declined. And I said, okay, well, do me this. Are the schools everybody's talking about, Michigan, LSU, Colorado, are they going to be included on that list? And he said, they'll definitely be on there as far as I know, but you might need to change that order around a little bit. He brought that up to me without me really asking him to do it. And I said, okay, well, how about this? What if I change that order to LSU, Michigan, and Colorado? And he goes, now that works for me.
No, God, I like it.
Am I reading too much into that? That's a big deal, right?
I think it's a big deal just because he's been down to campus so many times. Like, the relationships that are being built are fantastic. And yeah, to hear it from directly, word of mouth from his father, of course, I don't think that's overlooking anything.
So, of course, he goes on to completely rave about the LSU environment. I think everything he said about LSU's environment, the atmosphere, all that good stuff, which I think we could kind of assume from, did you see him dancing on the big board, man?
Oh yeah. I love that video. I love that.
The kid is swag surfing with sunglasses on. It's 9:00 at night wearing sunglasses.
Sunglasses on, NBA Youngboy t-shirt.
NBA Youngboy shirt on. Oh, look,
Baton Rouge is awesome.
Look, I've done enough scientific research at Fred's to know after 9:00, if you were rocking shades with an NBA Youngboy shirt on, you're living your best life. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I talked to his dad, and he said the point of this trip was, son, I want you to enjoy this trip as a fan, because the next time you come here, you might be a player. I'm paraphrasing. He didn't directly say that, but basically that was the implication, is you might be a player next time. So enjoy it from this perspective, because it might be the last time. Right. Then, man, and this is what's going to get people kind of salivating. So we all know Decorian Moore committed to LSU. By the way, Decorian Moore, they lost their first football game this week. Did you see that?
They did.
DeSoto.
Yeah.
Everybody
says it's an upset, but DeSoto is actually such a fantastic.
No, they're stacked, dude. People don't understand. DeSoto's like a legit squad.
Oh, yeah.
It's just Duncanville is
the powerhouse.
oh my gosh, unbelievable what they're doing at Duncanville right now. And the quarterback's really good too. Nobody even talks about him. He's got some Division 1 offers coming
I think he
around.
actually committed to SMU.
Did he? Okay, all right. Thank you for see, this is why we got Nagy on the show here, guys. He's real good with the details like that. But anyways, Decoria Moore was there. Harlem Berry was there, who goes to St. Martin Episcopal, a small school in New Orleans, and he is currently the number 1 running back in the country. So you had the number 1 running back, the number 1 receiver, and the number 1 quarterback all on LSU's campus. And by the way, what did they get to see? How about the 6 straight 500-yard of offense game where you beat Auburn 48-18?
Just a dominant day at the office.
I mean, that's the kind of game you want those boys to see, right?
Especially for Bryce, especially for somebody like Bryce, man. Am I wrong for saying obviously plug and play? I'm not saying by any means Bryce is Jaden, Jaden is Bryce. I'm not saying by any means, but I mean, if you put somebody like Bryce Underwood in the system that they're running right now, I mean, I think he balls out. So I think it was important to get him back in town for a game day experience. He's been on a couple of unofficials and whatnot. So to get him for a game day experience is fantastic. But carry on.
Did you see the running play from Bryce Underwood this week?
Yes. And my thing is he's not technically classified as a pro-rated passer, but his arm talent is what makes him, this booming prospect. But to me, he's so dynamic. He can utilize his legs. He's quick. He's twitchy. So to see him do what he does best is fantastic to me. Yeah.
I'm trying to see if I can
try to pull that up.
I'm pulling it up. I'm pulling it up. That's what because I know it sucks to be watching and we're talking about something, but that run reminded me a lot of Jaden Daniels. It's like, man, tell me he doesn't look like a clone of what Jaden Daniels is doing.
I love it. I'm glad you used the word clone, kind of covered all bases for me after saying kind of like a plug and play type thing. But look, I love what Bryce Underwood does for the game. His arm talent's off the charts. He's smart. His IQ is fantastic. His touchdown to interception ratio is nothing to shy away from. But yeah, let's check out this clip. It was beautiful.
This is from this week, guys, and just watch this run and tell me this doesn't fit exactly into what LSU's trying to do. And I didn't know he was actually this is one of the better runs he's done.
Like a Ferrari. See how fast he accelerates?
Yeah. It's hard not to see that in the passing highlights, guys. You can go to Huddle or whatever. They're all over. I mean, everybody, you see those all the time. He's got arm talent and accuracy for days. He'll fit in very well. And I think he knows that. I know his dad. When I asked his dad about the system LSU's running, he always brings it back to who the coaches are. He wanted to talk about how he loved Coach Sloan's film session. He didn't really talk about the plays and system that much, even no matter how much I really tried to. He really wanted to talk about how much he loved Coach Sloan and how much he liked Brian Kelly and what a wonderful job they've done recruiting. Anyways, talking about all those number 1 players in the country. Let me just read exactly what he said. And this is in response to me asking him if it crossed his mind that the number 1 running back was there and he's a big favorite to LSU. I mean, it's no big secret that Harlem Berry would be shocking. It'd be a surprise if he didn't end up at LSU. He's a New Orleans kid. Running back here in state. LSU tends to lock these guys up.
Frank Wilson.
Frank Wilson. Oh, and Frank Wilson is basically part of the family from what I understand.
The elite level recruiter. It doesn't get much better than somebody like Frank Wilson, but keep going.
Anyways, that actually came to my mind because it'd be amazing to watch all these men commit and have the opportunity to work together and just feel something powerful for LSU. I had the opportunity to talk to Mr. Berry's parents. That's Harlem Berry's. Actually, it says his dad, not parents, a couple of days ago for an hour. It was great to have a conversation, and that was our introduction to one another. It was a blessing to have somebody on the other side of the country that's dealing with the same thing. I think, and this is the juicy part of the quote, guys, I think Bryce and this 2025 class, they've got something special to shock the world. I mean, it sounds like a WWE hype video, man.
Look, you already got Decoria Moore plugged in. That's done.
The stars aligned.
Long time. It's a long time until he puts pen to paper. So you got him committed now. Like you said, somebody like Harlem Berry, could become a LSU UT battle down the stretch. But look, Frank Wilson, I'd be shocked if you let somebody like Harlem Berry leave the state. And then, the third piece of the trifecta, somebody like Bryce Underwood. So exactly what you're saying, the stars could be aligning. It could be something like beautiful, just like that.
It certainly looks like it. And he ends that with saying, I hope all three of these guys are able to link up sooner rather than later. So make of that what you will. We're going to talk about celebrity theaters. Of course, our title sponsor this season, guys. Because they're Baton Rouge locally owned, Louisiana's only locally owned theater, you're guaranteed a clean facility, better pricing, superior customer service, state-of-the-art technology, and the Baton Rouge location has an invigorating arcade with over 50 games to play. They've got a bar featuring beer, wine, and frozen drinks, oversized leather reclining seats, and the Dolby Atmos 3D sound system. So because they're locally owned and operated, guys, you're going to get all the best stuff there. I have to thank another sponsor, but before I do that, I just want to tell y'all to stay around because I also got to talk to him about the Michigan signal stealing allegations. So that's a bit of a deeper dive. I wanted to take some time. Before I do that, guys, if you can see the piece of artwork behind me, Jordan Spector has been kind enough to sponsor our show this year. Let me see if I can get Zach shrunk up here. There we go. You see the link. You see the artwork. He's got that piece. He's got this Dylan Cruz 7-piece for the championship the baseball team just won. He's got his Coach O and Joe Burrow piece. All these are super high quality. I love getting to show these to y'all guys because they're just such awesome pieces. They are available at SpectorSportsArt.com/the Bayou. I've got a new little graphic I'm going to pop up here just so you can see them all on the screen at one time. Here's all of his LSU artworks here. Guys, this is artwork that's guaranteed to catch the eye of any Tiger fan, and the details are going to be what hold your attention. So you see the infamous Smoke and Joe piece behind me. It's been followed up with 4 incredible pieces and a Drew Brees piece, by the way, which you can see on the link. Artwork is available in quality print or canvas of any size to fit any room or any budget. It's straight from box to your wall, guys. There's no hammer, nails you got to buy. Just straight. Everything you need is in the box. As you can see on the top right-hand corner there, you can see actually Jordan Spector presenting his painting, the original, to Dylan Cruz. That's the coolest part about all this artwork is the athletes themselves hang it in their own man cave, guys. So make sure to check out the link in the description of this video to check out the entire Bayou collection. And when you're there, use our exclusive promo code TigerBait10 to get 10% off your first order and let our sponsors know that their sponsorship dollars are being put to good work. Thank you, Jordan Spector, for making our show possible. Make sure to go check them out, guys. All right. I teased it before that last commercial break. I had to ask. And when I talked to, I got the hint of something when I talked to his old coach. Belleville's coach, he got fired last season, actually, for some sort of recruiting. It had nothing to do with Bryce Underwood, but he did get fired last year. But he's real close to the family because he coached his father, and of course coached Bryce for 3 years. So he's still real close to the family. And when I just started asking Michigan this, Michigan that, thinking Michigan was the front runner, he got kind of dismissive. And I was like, man, like he kind of asked me, I was like, for us down here, we're kind of looking at Michigan as the team to beat. And he's like, where are you getting that? It really, really defensive and almost went on the assault talking about that. It's 20 minutes away from Ann Arbor. So
right in his backyard.
Look at what Michigan's been doing. I kind of was reading the writing on the walls, but I have not gotten that vibe whatsoever. In fact, I almost get the vibe, and this is me. This is this is not Bryce Underwood, Jaquan Underwood said this. I kind of almost feel like Michigan's on there as a courtesy. You know how the recruits locally that are big kids LSU want, they'll put LSU's hat on the table, but we all kind of know, we all kind of knew Dominic McKinley wasn't coming to LSU. it's there as a courtesy, and they tend to wait longer so they don't have to deal with the harassment. That's the kind of vibe I've been getting with this.
That's interesting.
I could be wrong. I'm just using my experience to read in between the lines here. So totally, it's just speculation. I'm at least coming forth and telling you it's speculation. But I asked him about this. I asked him to ask about the, Jim Harbaugh sign stealing allegations. It looks like Michigan put zero effort into covering their tracks with all this.
Oh yeah, that is a mess.
It is hilarious how messy that situation is. Let's see here. When I asked him, he said he said he hadn't had the opportunity to actually watch the Michigan allegation news yet. Then he says something particularly interesting. I did hear about a few allegations. The ones that I've heard about, I don't even think they're in the news.
I don't even know what that could be about.
And I double checked with him. I was like, and you're okay with me printing this, right? He's like, yep. I said, okay. I said, so with that being said, and this is continuing to read from him. So with that being said, it's a huge blow because one reason we're making our decisions on is based on the staff that's there. If any pieces move, it's definitely going to be a huge impact on the decision.
Right.
Little implicit that he believes there might be some coaching turnover at Michigan.
Some shakeup.
I don't know. Not saying, I'm just saying. If y'all want to read the full story, y'all make sure to go to TigerBait.com. If you're not a subscriber to TigerBait.com, it's $1 to give it a try and get started. That's all this story will cost you to read. Support local journalism, all that good stuff. We're going to transition talking. LSU plays a football game this week.
Pretty big one, if you ask me.
I'd say so too. Let's get to a few comments, and we're going to dive into LSU Bama. Of course, last week's show we were heavy on it. Let's see if we got any good comments here.
There's a bunch up in there.
What's up?
There's a bunch. I was checking some matches now.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's see. Didn't he say Colorado was in the mix? That's Josh Forbes. Yeah, he's in the mix. They're there. I mean, they're too intriguing. And what Shadur's doing there. Definitely in the mix. I tend to believe LSU has the just muscle power to beat out Colorado.
And Colorado just got a quarterback, I think, either 2024 or 2025. I think Antoine Hill's his name. He's a 4-star, really good player.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if that'll affect his decision. Like we were saying earlier, they don't really run from competition by any means, but at the same time, if it's in his class, it could be a little bit different. But yeah, Josh, they're definitely in the mix.
Everyone sees Alabama is going down each year and knows LSU is trending up, just getting out of the BS that Coach O put us in. Well, the latter part is definitely true. And on the field, the first part looks true. I mean, I definitely see where you could think Alabama's reign of terror might be coming to an end. Are you buying that?
It's tough for me, like just saying like they're kind of reaching the back end of that massive dynasty. It's hard for me to say that just because I think Saban's just so fantastic. Obviously, he's getting older, but we'll see what they do in the NCAA transfer portal this offseason. But these last two seasons have definitely been kind of down years for them.
I would buy the Bama. Saban's getting old. He's 72. Getting kind of old. Maybe losing a little bit of his touch. The energy he has is different. He's doing the Pat McAfee show once a week. That's different. He's doing very un-Saban things like smoking a cigar after beating Tennessee on the field. He usually never in a million years would I expect him to do
right.
that. And of course, the product on the field is very un-Saban-like, in my opinion.
Especially from an
although they're still kind of winning a lot of football games, even though it looks ugly. So that's the counter to that. And also, did you see his recruiting class last year?
Exactly.
Like, does that look like someone who's sleeping right now?
No.
That man is still cooking.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if the Saban end is near. I'm not gonna say it is or isn't. I'm just telling you, there's certainly some evidence that he might turn this thing around. That's all I'm going to say. Mark Cumby, good faithful follower of the show. Appreciate all your support, Mark. Preston, Zach, how many 5 stars does LSU sign when it's all said and done? So I don't know about you. So we don't have any kind of like major star affiliate. Both of our sites are similar in this manner. Like we don't have like, okay, like, other guys write for 247 and they have their own star system and database, or Rivals, or we don't have any of that, right? We're an independent site. Sports Illustrated doesn't have a star system, at least yet. So when I talk about a 5-star, I tend to, it's such a difficult designation that anybody who's given him a 5-star, I'll go ahead and call him a 5-star with respect. So I'm counting Weston Davis in this, right? And Mark, feel free to clarify. I'm gonna zoom down to the bottom of the comments here. If you meant 2024 or 2025, because I think those are going to be 2 different answers. So you've got Weston Davis on board. There's going to be final evaluations coming usually in like late November. They give final, or December, whatever. They have like end of season evaluations, which shockingly enough, they tend to actually not shake up that much in recruiting based on what they did during the season as much as they do during the off season for camps and stuff like that. So there's certainly some players. I look at Tradez Green. He's kind of knocking on the door for 5 stars right now. So maybe that's a guy who could work his way up. And the other one that crosses my mind is I think LSU's got a chance to split Terry Bussey. What's your thoughts? So if I set the over under at 2, does that sound fair?
It does. I think if you're including Weston Davis in that conversation, you got your one right there. For Tradez as a tight end to move up to 5-star status would be really impressive. He's had a dominant senior year. Do I think he gets that 5th star? I think he could. I'd probably lean towards high 4-star when it's all said and done. And then obviously you look at, the slim to potential chance that you flip somebody like Terry Bussey from Texas A&M. Obviously there's interest, between both parties with Bussey's camp and LSU. You got him back down right after he took an official visit to LSU. He came back a couple weeks later for an unofficial on his own dime. So look, there's interest between both parties, but I'd probably lean towards saying, probably 1 right now with Weston Davis. If you get somebody like Terry Bussey, that'd be fantastic. But if we're sticking to 2024, it's probably just going to be somebody like Weston Davis, unless you flip a Terry Bussey from A&M.
Yeah, it is likely that LSU does end up with 1, but I'll also say this: never underestimate the rabbit out of a hat factor. Never underestimate just some guy coming out of left field.
Recruiting's crazy. Anything can happen.
It is absolutely bonkers, and that's one of the reasons I love it. All right, let's see. All right, Mikey with Donald Trump Bears, Donald Trump, Chicago Trumps. Bro, how do they manage a potential Garrett Nussmeier, Colin Hurley, Ricky Collins, and Bryce Underwood QB room? Well,
I could jump on this one, actually. I'm going to jump on that just because I wouldn't be surprised to see LSU go into the transfer portal to get a quarterback. I don't think you're looking at that room as something that is significant right now. That's young guys. Colin Hurley's going to get to campus, and he's only going to be like 16 years old, I think. He's going to be incredibly young because he reclassified. Somebody like Collins will be a redshirt freshman. And then the only Underwood, too. Or Nuss. I'm just going to skip Underwood. I'm not even going to say that name yet just because I don't want to do anything yet. But look, looking at a room of Collins, Hurley, and Nuss, I think you almost have to go into the transfer portal and get an experienced guy to back up somebody like Nussmeier just in case. Underwood would be fantastic long-term in the bigger picture. But if I'm looking at this offseason strictly, Colin Hurley comes in as an early enrollee. You have, Ricky Collins on campus already, and then you have Garrett Nussmeier. I wouldn't be surprised to see this program go into the transfer portal to get somebody who's relatively experienced to come in and back up Nuss next year. Am I crazy for thinking something like that?
No, that's actually been something Mike and I have talked a lot about, is that we believe coaches are interested in a transfer portal quarterback who will either provide some veteran depth,
some stability,
or a guy who can legitimately vie for the starting position. Which, it's one of those things where you just have to wait and see what actually ends up there before you before you really say you're gonna get that guy or not.
Right.
It's not like recruiting where you see the guys for years. Like they have to actually enter the transfer portal.
Yeah.
So you just don't know. But I think if there is a guy in the portal who they think is capable, I don't think they're shying away from that.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. We'll have to see. I got a super chat here from David Riley. I think we just put a comment up just a second ago for. Thank you guys for all the recruiting info. Underwood is a real chance or another top recruit that breaks our heart. Well, David, if you missed it, I'm gonna suggest that you go when this show ends, go rewatch everything that we talked about for the first 20 minutes or so. Or better yet,
story. Or go read Preston's story.
Or better yet, support local journalism. Go to TigerBait.com and pay your $1 to get access to the best recruiting site on the LSU beat, TigerBait.com, and you can go see my story there. It is a really good write-up with 1,000+ words. To summarize your super chat, the answer is yes, a real chance, but also could be a heartbreak. At this point, after his dad says LSU's the team to beat, if he doesn't come to LSU, I mean, that's a serious heartbreaker. And look, Mark Cumbie did say for 2024. He was talking about how many 5-stars we end up with. Let me just clarify and say that if you finish with 2 5-stars in 2025, at this point, that seems disappointing.
I could agree with that.
That seems disappointing because, I mean, you've got 3 guys who I think the 3 guys we mentioned earlier, who you expect will land at LSU. And then, like, you're telling me, like, you know, there's not another guy on the radar somewhere that LSU can bring in. And I would say 2 would be a disappointment for 2025.
That one we can set the over at, I'd say probably 3.5. The over under is where I'm going to set that one at.
3.5. That's
I think
spicy. You think someone joins the bandwagon? Yeah, I would say so too. I would say 3.5 that's a very good Vegas line right there. Spencer Ware, 5-star from Ohio. That's right, Mr. Ohio, by the way. I think LSU signed 3 Mr. Ohio's. Yeah, Joe Burrow was Mr. Ohio, if I'm not mistaken. Because if you think his stats for LSU senior season was good, you should go look at his stats his senior season at Athens High School. I believe he threw 68 touchdowns, something like that. Had less yards.
Easy. It's just crazy.
Yeah, and they were, state finalists. Spencer Ware and let's see.
Corey Kiner.
Yeah, Corey Kiner. Yeah, that's his name. I was really sad Corey Kiner didn't work out. Yeah, there it is. Yep.
There we go.
Yep. So, the LSU, the Louisiana-Ohio connection is something that will never not continue to baffle me. Like, yeah, Corey Kiner, Mr. Ohio. See, okay, he must be from Ohio or something because he's a little too excited for me bringing up all these Mr. Ohio. So, someone correct me only if I'm wrong. There was 3 Mr. Ohio's LSU assigned recently: Spencer Ware, Corey Kiner, and Joe Burrow. If I'm mistaken, I'm pretty sure Joe Burrow was Mr. Ohio because there was a story that came out how he won it and there's no plaque or anything. There's no trophy, no plaque. It's just like, what?
That's so weird.
You just tell me I'm Mr. Ohio.
It's like a verbal accolade.
Yeah. It's a Twitter accolade.
Yeah, exactly.
It is. Anyways, guys, we're going to talk more about the injuries and how that impacts our prediction for the game. Some big news today from Brian Kelly. But before I do that, we got to thank some more sponsors. Of course, guys, y'all know who presents the show. That's our title sponsor, Celebrity Theaters. Y'all make sure to go check out. They got 2 locations in Baton Rouge and Ruston, guys. They've got weekly promotions for all locations. Monday is Senior Savings Day, $5 for all patrons over the age of 55 all day. Tuesday is Bargain Tuesday, discounted movie tickets and concessions for all. Wednesday is College Night, where admission for college students after 5 p.m. is $5. At the Baton Rouge location, they have half-off arcades all day. Thursday at the Baton Rouge location is Thirsty Thursday, where they have discounted bar items. So, guys, we got to also talk about Drip IV. And there, of course, they have this basically miracle substance, semaglutide, we're going to hear about real quick.
Hi everybody, we're so excited to share the news that Hi everybody, we're so excited to share the news that both our Lafayette and our Baton Rouge location are offering semaglutide for weight loss.
If you or someone you know are interested in our medically assisted weight loss program with semaglutide, call Kylie in Lafayette or myself in Baton Rouge. We'd love to speak with you.
Guys, if you've been struggling to lose weight, semaglutide is exactly the answer you're looking for. Maybe you've heard of these weight loss injections from a friend or family member. This is your sign to check it out. Drip IV offers medically assisted weight loss with semaglutide at both their Baton Rouge and Lafayette locations. Call them to book your consultation today. They would love to speak with you. They also guide you with the perfect IV drip that fits your needs. These IVs are great for anyone feeling under the weather or in need of an energy boost. They're loaded with vitamin C and other great vitamins, amino acids, electrolytes designed to get you back feeling your best in a hurry. Whether it's a hangover, a cold, or preparing for vacation, they have what you need. Located next to Sushiyama and Iverston's in Perkins Crossing at the corner of Perkins and Essen. It's a super convenient spot. As always, walk-ins are welcome. Please say TigerBait.com for $10 off your first IV drip. And I promise you, if you drop that name, you will get the best possible service. For appointments, you can book online or call the location closest to you. Call them at 225-256-3634. Open 8 to 4, Monday through Friday. All right, on to this irrelevant football game LSU plays this week.
A lot of recruiting today.
Yeah, it was heavy in recruiting. Felt like it was worth it. That was a pretty big story. Got to write. And it was a bye week, so there's no football game to talk about. So, and last week we talked a lot about it, but we're going to talk the rest of the show about this football game. Bombshell news today from Brian Kelly. I think this hurts actually more than the DBs, arguably. You lose Mekhi Wingo. Why do I think that hurts a little bit more? Yes, you have more depth at defensive tackle. Yes, the players you're replacing him with are better. But your defensive tackle spot has been probably your best spot on your defense this year. Am I forgetting something? Is there something else that stands out to you?
No, I mean, for the most part, your defensive line was kind of a disappointment to start the season, but now it's starting to grade out extremely well. And you can't judge the entire defensive line. And to what I'm saying is the interior defensive line has been impressive. The entire defensive line has not. So, yeah,
they haven't.
Saying there's some factual evidence.
And the interior running game hasn't been nearly as bad as the exterior running game. So
beautiful.
I think it's fair to say that your interior defensive linemen have been your best part of this defense, and you really need them to continue to perform. Mekhi Wingo's been a beast, man. Oh my, pound for pound, he's been your best player on defensive tackle. I mean, he losing that 5-star heart is something you never want to see on the field. You're going to replace him with Jordan Jefferson. Did you notice the little nugget in his presser where he said Jordan Jefferson is actually graded the highest rated defensive tackle that they have?
I knew you. I'm glad you said that. I mean, look, man, every time he gets on the field, he's been extremely productive. So I believe it. It didn't necessarily catch me off guard just because every time Jefferson's hit the field, he's been extremely impressive. And I hope he can fill that void because if you kind of think about it, look back last year when Mason Smith went down and you saw somebody like Mekhi Wingo step in and fill the void when Mason Smith went down and out. So now you lose Mekhi Wingo. Maybe somebody like Jordan Jefferson can enter the fold and do something really impressive for this group because he's graded the best defensive lineman on your team. He's been impressive when he's on the field. Obviously, losing that 5-star heart, like you said, that's well said.
Mm-hmm.
But look, from a production standpoint, I'm really hoping Jordan Jefferson can, step in and do what he needs to do. Jacoby and Guillory as well. You have some depth right there. Absolutely.
And the reason why I think he hurts more is because, frankly, whoever you were putting at corner, there was not so great anyways. I mean,
written on the wall,
I'm not trying to insult the defensive backs, but the corner spot in particular has been pretty rough this year. By the way, shout out to 2R3 Not Goodas. I can't tell if that's one of those names where he's trying to convince me to say a curse word or something like that. Like Barry McCaw, you know that guy on Twitter. Anyways, he said he just subscribed. Thank you for subscribing. And guys, I hope y'all enjoyed. I try to balance because it is a premium story on our site. I know not everybody wants to pay for reading content, so I tried to balance giving you something good on here where I can give it to you for free. That there's a lot of great details left in that story that you can go read on your own if you want that. Anyway, so Zy Alexander, he's going to be out for some time, is what Brian Kelly said. Not good. He's been serviceable at corner, who I think might even be better than him at corner. He's definitely in your top 2 corners that you've had this year.
Are you gonna say Sage?
I'm gonna say Sage. Am I? You know, and some people like roll their eyes and get upset with me when I say that, but objectively, he's kind of taking care of business this year.
I don't want to hate it. Like, I don't hate the take. We were talking. So was it you and I that were talking? I was talking to somebody.
If he's the best DB, I think we were in.
Yeah, that was you and me. That, yeah. And I don't hate the take. I think Sage Ryan he's been fantastic. He's experienced. He's a Swiss Army knife. He can do everything you need, in the defensive backfield. So I mean, look, man, if you're looking at the entire cornerback room as a whole, now that Zy's out, he's clear cut your number 1 guy. Was he better than Zy when Zy was healthy? It's certainly a debate. It's certainly a debate.
Yeah. And of course, Denver Harris, unavailable, whatever that means. I actually was a little surprised by that one. I just thought, it was some silly suspension or something like that. And, he got in a fight or whatever. And Brian Kelly was saying, all right, we're going to suspend you for the Army game and a couple of games that are lesser on our schedule, but we'll get you back for Alabama. Not playing. Deuce Chestnut, he deuced out. I don't know what the heck's going on with these guys. It's a very bizarre circumstance we find ourselves in, where these guys are just straight up unavailable. Not to mention the injury to J.K. Johnson at the beginning of the season. He's out for the year. That's a lot of blows at corner. Zach,
ridiculous.
We both picked LSU to beat Alabama. Are you ready to run that back and flip it the other way with all these guys out on defense?
I was talking to somebody about that earlier today, leaving the press conference. I think LSU's offense is fantastic. I don't think Jalen Milroe is, he can push the deep ball, but his intermediate throws are, subpar. Am I going to go back on I'm not going to really go back. It's tough. It's really tough. I don't know if LSU escapes that game with a win, just because you don't have somebody like Mekhi Wingo leading your team. That's your number 18. That's your ride or die player. The secondary is such a struggle right now. The lack of depth in that area is significant. I think it would be extreme challenge to come out of Tuscaloosa with a victory. I think Jaden Daniels can get the job done on offense. It's the best defense they'll play all year, but I think the offense is just that much better. But we'll see. We'll see. I think.
Are you walking it back though? Are you picking Bama at this point?
I might be picking Bama at this point.
Might be. See, so that's non-committal, Zach.
I might be picking Bama at this point, and it's nothing against LSU. It's just the weapons that you have defensively right now. I'm not sure they're going to be able to get the job done. Jermaine Burton is a problem at receiver for Alabama. Jace McClellan is a pretty good running back when he needs to get the job done as well. But we'll see. What do you think?
Stamps, Hughes, Ryan, Welsh. Those are our corners. Let me tell you something.
You can throw him in there too.
I remember in 2012, LSU lost its left tackle. I'm trying to remember his name. He was a pretty highly recruited guy, Chris Falk. And it kind of was looking, and they were playing South Carolina, who had some no-name defensive end called Jadeveon Clowney. And to replace him, LSU went with Josh Dworczyk, who was like a 6-year senior with 2 robotic knees, who played guard previously. He was an interior offensive lineman. So you've got this guy who hadn't played all year, hurt, tore both ACLs or whatever, and you plug him in at left tackle. And what does he do? Goes out there and shuts down the best player in the country who went on to be the number 1 pick in the draft.
Oh, yeah.
Players, when given time and put in spots like this, can oftentimes step up to that role. And oftentimes the fact that they haven't put themselves on film as much as the guy in front of him can help. Now, do I think it's going to be the equivalent level production as Zy Alexander out there? No. But I think that what Zy Alexander is doing is, it's not like we're talking about replacing Patrick Peterson, guys. It's not like it just isn't. You're not replacing Tyrann Mathieu. You're talking about a guy who gives up a very soft zone coverage. He's been serviceable, but Zy Alexander wasn't going to go out there and completely lock down, Julio Jones in his prime. That's not the kind of situation we're talking about. So, I would like to see one of these freshmen step up to the occasion and see if they're ready to fill that role and play big football. Here's the deal. To say Alabama is going to beat LSU means that you think Alabama's going to win in a shootout. Yes, Alabama's got a good defense. Do you think it's like lockdown defense where it's going to shut down LSU's number 1 offense in the country?
I think LSU's offense is just too good.
Yeah.
I think it's just too damn good.
Yeah.
I love everything about this offense. It's the number 1 offense in the country, like you said.
Number 1.
I love everything about it. So I guess at the end of the day, it would have to be a shootout.
You're not beating this LSU team by scoring 28 points.
Right. Well said.
You're not the way they're playing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama's offense ranks 79th in the country, y'all. Yes, they're improving. Okay. Do you think Alabama's going to go out there and just go blow for blow for blow for blow with Jaden Daniels? Honestly. Just honestly. Jordan Travis did it. He's Jordan Travis. This is Jalen Milroe, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, watch the film. I still like the way this puzzle piece fits together for LSU.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama's strengths don't play into LSU's weaknesses perfectly. Alabama will score. No doubt about that. They're going to get their points. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and give Alabama a couple extra points because of just how pertinent. I thought for sure either Deuce or Denver Harris or one of these corners would step up and be available, or maybe Zy. Miraculously, it's a high ankle sprain and he's good to go, but he'll be banged up. You went over.
Exactly.
Over. So we're back to plan A. Back to the freshman corners. Which, boy, Brian Kelly loves talking about those freshman corners, man. I think he was about to laser beam Koki Riley in the post-game press conference when he asked him about the freshman corners. Not that Koki asked anything wrong. It's just, Brian Kelly wasn't having it. I'm still going to say LSU gets their 41, y'all. And I don't think Bama puts up 41. I'll give Bama an extra 6 points from what I was at last week. So I'll say 41-34. LSU takes it. Right.
I still need time to put in my prediction, man. I love the LSU offense. I love what they bring to the table offensively. I'm extremely unsure about what's going to happen defensively, because when you were kind of talking about how that guy stepped into the mix a while back, I think you might have said like 2012 or whatever it was. My key takeaway from that was that he was a sixth year, so he had so much like experience, practice or whatever, that veteran type guy. LSU doesn't have that veteran type guy in that secondary. You're playing all true freshmen, 18-year-olds who are going on the road to Bryant-Denny Stadium in a crazy game that could ultimately be for who comes out.
All right, fair enough. How about I stick with that same team? Hold up. I'm going to cut you off mid-thought because it just transfers so well. I'm going to stay with that same team. In 2012, there was a cornerback on that team named Tyrann Mathieu who found himself no longer on that team miraculously before the season. Behind him was a cornerback Jalen Mills, true freshman, forced into action, went out there, held his own. Rest is history. Got drafted by Philadelphia, had a nice NFL career. He was put in a big spot. Was he as good as Tyron? No, but he stepped up to the occasion. You know who else did that? Jalen Collins was on that team and did that as well as a redshirt freshman. I'm just saying, a lot of times these are very talented guys, and when their name is called upon, a lot of times you see them step up to that bell, and that's what I'm hoping to. Hey, guys, I haven't pushed too much for this because I was pushing for y'all to go to the story. Make sure if you're watching, hit the like button on this video if you enjoyed what you watched today, and make sure to share it out on your Twitter, your social, your Facebook groups, whatever. I think that there is plenty of good content that's worth sharing out there and worth a like tonight. I do have to thank our sponsors one last time. I have to thank Celebrity Theaters for all that they do for our show as our title sponsor. Guys, all Celebrity Theaters locations house 8 to 10 auditoriums, whether you're interested in hosting a birthday party, private movie screening, corporate meeting, or arcade party. We have the perfect facility to meet your needs. Celebrity Theaters is proud to offer birthday party packages for children of all ages. Let us handle everything from movies to entertainment to setup to cleanup. For more information on to book your party online, visit celebritytheaters.com/events or send us an email at events@celebritytheaters.com. And of course, Alumni Hall. Hey, Tiger fans, when you want to show your Tiger pride, Alumni Hall is your ultimate shopping experience. The best and largest selection of apparel for the whole family. Nike, Nike Golf, Columbia, Peter Millar, Champion, Southern Tide hats, Yeti, gifts, and accessories. LSU students, faculty, and military receive 10% off in-store every day, and you can earn cash back with their Hall Pass rewards. Alumni Hall, located in Turkins Row, or anytime at alumnihall.com. Alumni Hall, where the Tiger fans shop. And guys, if you haven't been to that store, I'm telling you guys, it's like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory for an LSU fan. Speaking of Willy Wonka, Mike Scarborough, dressed as Willy Wonka for Halloween, looked great, man. It was funny. I wish I had a picture, man. Hold up. I'm gonna find this actually. Mike Scarborough. I don't have him right now. Okay, I'll tweet it out or something, guys. I'm sorry.
I gotta see it.
Oh no, it's good, man. It's good. I'm on the wrong Facebook profiles. What's going on here? But anyways, Mike Scarborough, Willy Wonka, hilarious. Here he is. I got it. Oh, where is it, Mike? I swear to gosh, if he deleted it, I'm gonna be pissed. Here we go. All right. Share screen. Stop. Present. Share screen.
We got to see this.
All right, check out this Halloween swag from the top dog on the site, Mike Scarborough, man. We're rocking the Willy Wonka for Halloween.
He's gonna hate you for this.
Oh, dude, he probably will. But he went out in public like this, so you know, it's fair game at this point.
Oh my gosh.
Let's see here if we got any more good comments before we're about to wrap up in just a second here. Let's see here. Oh, look, this is another good one of a guy stepping up. Travis Daniels against Tennessee in the SEC championship game. How about Matt Mock in the SEC championship game in 2001? Were you around?
I've even heard about that. Oh man, I was like 3 years old. I was a little kid. 3 years old. Little baby.
Yeah. In 2001. Oh, that was a fun team to watch, man. I didn't know what was going on, in all fairness. I was 10 years old, but that was a lot of fun watching Matt Mock step in for Rohan Davey for the SEC championship and take the win. In all fairness, who have we played with a great defense? Well, Florida State's no slouch on defense. Okay. I went through the numbers on last week's show. Some of these defenses LSU's played have been pretty stingy defenses. Not as good as Alabama, but I don't think Alabama is so good that it's just going to disrupt everything LSU does. Look at all these guys, man, stepping up with big guys stepping up in position. Dwight McGlover. It's not an anomaly. It's not an anomaly. Like guys step up in big spots like this, especially when they know it's coming ahead of time and they can practice into that position and the other team doesn't have film on them.
That's also a really good point, by the way. And I'm glad you said that too, because I don't want to contradict myself by any means necessary. I don't want to do that. But having the bye week to throw in your true freshmen and your youngsters to get into the mix is so crucial and so key to get first team reps in practice during that bye week. And then now into Bama week to get 2 weeks under your belt is so crucial, especially going into such a key game. So that's also something that's extremely noteworthy in my opinion.
Matt Flynn. Now he said SEC championship. Matt Flynn came in for an injured Jamarcus Russell in the SEC championship against Georgia, but did not win the game. Peach Bowl. He beat Miami 40-3 in the 2005 Peach Bowl. Just saying. That's my point. I'm so glad so many people came up with other information. Anyways, guys, appreciate y'all for watching the show. Hit that like button on this show so the algorithm continues to push it out to people around the Tiger Nation for us. Y'all make sure to go check out Zach on Twitter at ZNaggy20. He has a Bryce Underwood story he wrote too this week. So you can go check out his Twitter to go see that one. That's a free story. It's a free story.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay. Just checking before I put that out there. So make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't. Give us a like. And look, check this out. Like and sub. I'm gonna say that's sub. Like and sub, y'all. Sub for the dub. I'll see y'all after the game against Alabama. And me and Zach will be right here at this exact spot Monday at 8 o'clock next week. I'll see you then.